Homeowner's insurance versus flood insurance. There's a big difference. As a homeowner, you could be out thousands of dollars. So this video is just for you. If you're a homeowner, you just wanted to make sure you're not out thousands of dollars by not knowing the difference between these two. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Chris, the flood insurance guru. More than 12 years ago, I bought a house in a flood zone just like this right here. I thought home insurance, flood insurance all went together. Guess what? It didn't, and I was in for sticker shock. My premiums were $3,000 a year when they should have been $300 a year because I didn't know the difference. The good news is for you, by the end of this video, we're going to show you the difference between these two. Do you need to have both of them? And what's actually covered here, so come claims time, you've got all the coverage you need. So today we're talking about home insurance versus flood insurance. There's some of the differences here. Now we're talking about home insurance. I was a home insurance agent for more than 12 years, and we helped clients every day. One of the things that typically was not covered by home insurance was flood insurance. Now you need to understand when it comes to home insurance, there's certain things that'll cover like wind, hail, theft, a fire, all these different things. But one of the things that's generally not covered here is flooding. When we're talking about flooding, we're not talking about your toilet backing up here. We're not talking about a busted pipe here. We're specifically talking about surface water. Like this water right here. If this water was to come rushing in my house, that would typically be defined as a flood if it impacted my property and at least one other property or 2 acres. So that's kind of the difference between those two. Now, it's also important to understand that on home insurance, you may only have one deductible unless you have a separate wind deductible. But if someone breaks in your house, it may be the same deductible as if you have a busted pipe. However, on flood, this is where flood can also be different. Each coverage on flood, when we're talking about building coverage, we're talking about contents coverage or additional living expenses, each one of these could have a deductible. So come deductible time, there's a big difference between these two. If you pick a $5,000 deductible for each one, you could really have a $15,000 deductible. That could be a big difference. Now, do you need home insurance and flood insurance? You absolutely do, because they cover different things, especially the way things are changing with flooding across the country, and we're having much more widespread flooding across the country here in 2024 and beyond. I mean, we've got parts of Miami, Florida that's recently got 17 inches of rain in 24 hours, or Birmingham, Alabama a couple years ago that had 12 inches of rain in one day. The areas that were not required to have flood insurance that were flooding, we see it every day. In fact, this is where about 30% of flooding comes from. Now, if you have a mortgage company and you live in what's called a special flood hazard area, then your mortgage company is probably going to require you to have home insurance and flood insurance. As long as you have a mortgage, typically home insurance is going to be required. It's also one of the best protections when it comes to protecting you from financial devastation, whether it be home insurance or flood insurance. When it comes to contents coverage, we hear from people, hey, I have that on my home insurance, I don't need it. Remember, if you have a flood, your home insurance is not generally going to cover that contents coverage as well. So what we typically recommend here, get the same flood insurance coverage as you have on your home. So if a loss happens, you're covered regardless. And you want to make sure that you pick replacement cost, not actual cash value. Remember, replacement cost is what they think the actual cost to completely rebuild that structure would be. If you pick an actual cash value policy, just covering your loan amount, whatever your bank's requiring, then you may only get really 40% of what that policy's worth. You could have a big disappointment come claims time, especially if your house is a total loss and you're having to pay a mortgage on a house you no longer live. We've seen this happen with property owners before that forces them into bankruptcy, foreclosure, and this is what replacement costs can help protect against. So if you're a homeowner, the key takeaway of this video is making sure that you have home insurance and flood insurance. The great news is that flood insurance is only a few steps away, and you can click in the description of this video to start that process of purchasing flood insurance, or simply download our guide on flood insurance. You can also watch our playlist on different flood zones to understand what flood zone you might be in and what they mean. I'm Chris, the flood insurance guru, and I want to say thank you for watching today's video on what is the difference between home insurance and flood insurance in 2024. Make sure to share, subscribe, and like the channel so that you can get all of our weekly updates as we put these different videos out for you. Thank you.